If you call the multi-chapter fic I spent hundreds of hours writing and editing and losing sleep over so I could deliver something good for my readers to enjoy fast food, I will punch you in the throat. Alright kids, grab your biscuits and put the kettle on the stove because we are breaking into a special blend of fanfiction tea. The specific situation that kind of exploded and we'll be diving into took place about a month ago and is still ongoing. However, the big picture discussion that it plugs into surrounding the topic of fanfiction and fan literature, its value, criticism, has been haunting the narrative for a long time. Fanfiction has existed in various forms for centuries. A lot of things we wouldn't consider to be fanfiction at first glance actually share its DNA. Hell, there are professional published authors out there that got their start in fanfiction, and there's authors that write fanfic on top of their published works. However, it's also no secret that fanfiction generally isn't viewed very favorably in comparison to traditionally published works. It's often called inferior, amateur, low class, cringe, or not real writing. And yet, there's no shortage of staunch fanfiction defenders out there, myself included, proclaiming that the quality of writing that can be found in a lot of fics out there is at least on par with or even surpasses many published books. Just because something is fanfiction doesn't automatically equate it to being bad. And in addition to all of that, fanfiction has been dragged into a rising persistent problem stemming from fandom becoming more and more entrenched and inextricably bound to the fast-paced, consumer-driven world of social media. And it's really changed the scope and scale of fanfiction as well. I mean, pre-pandemic, most people wouldn't know what AO3 is unless they were fic readers or writers themselves. Fan works, or should I say fan content, which includes things like fanfiction and fan art and fan edits, is often seen as just that. Content. You scroll and consume more content and more content and more content wherever you are at the drop of a hat. And when content isn't being delivered to you as fast as you'd like, or it's just not to your liking period, it's easy to forget about who produced the content in the first place. Also, referring to fan works as content to be produced like a machine makes me want to tear my hair out. That's also where AI enters the picture too. Like, why wait for your fellow fans to write or update their stories when you can just generate as many as you want, as fast as you want, whenever you want? Combined with the way social media algorithms work and the drive for engagement no matter the cost, as well as this sort of like caustic attitude to be as like edgy and ingenuine as possible. Empathy is cringe, I guess, because it shows you care. Dude, I'm 28. I personally can't wait to be in my cringe MILF era. I'm gonna be the most embarrassing nerdy mom and I will look good doing it. Anyways, combine all of this in a giant pot and you've got a recipe for disaster for anyone who just wants to write about their favorite characters kissing. So buckle up everybody, cause it's about to get bumpy. And before we dive in further, I want to thank the sponsor of today's video, ThredUp. ThredUp is an online thrift and consignment store where you can browse hundreds of brands for high-quality secondhand clothes at a fraction of their original cost. For whatever style or special occasion you're shopping for, it's super fun and easy to search through all the goodies that are listed on ThredUp. If you've been meaning to refresh your work wardrobe, or need a dress for a friend's wedding, or just want to look cute at Trader Joe's, clothing, accessories, shoes, bags, ThredUp has got you covered. There's thousands of new arrivals and one-of-a-kind items coming in daily, so you never know what you're gonna find next. I'm heading to the county fair soon and got this super cute burnt orange zip-up dress from Show Me Your Mew Mew. It retails for $178, but I got it on ThredUp for $32. I love the heavy gold detailing and the braided pocket decor. I paired it with my cowboy boots to make a sort of contemporary country look. Perfect for taking some cute pictures at the petting zoo and kicking butt at the carnival games. And as we are entering wedding season, I got this really pretty dress from Sachin and Bobby with puffy sleeves and a notched neckline for guesting at any engagement or wedding events that may pop up in the next few months. And this dress was an incredible find because it retails for $475, but I got it on ThredUp for $51. It was a steal. Combined with these nude Schutz heels and maybe a glass of Riesling, and I'm ready for a good time. They usually go for $138, but I got them for $31 on ThredUp. And for this last look, I wanted something that was boho, but still nice enough for most spring occasions. And I found this beautiful breezy marigold dress by Viktor Victoria Dunn. At retail, this dress goes for $229, and on ThredUp, I got it for $73. I paired it with these gold wedges from Unisa. Their retail value is $98, and I snatched them up for $18. And I think this would be a great look for a farmer's market hangout or picnic date. I'm already a big thrifter and love working with ThredUp because not only is it affordable to jazz up your wardrobe, but it's eco-friendly too. By shopping secondhand, you're helping to keep fashion sustainable and create less clothing waste. All the pieces I just showed you didn't end up thrown away in a landfill somewhere thanks to thrifting them on ThredUp. It's recycling with style. So if you're ready to shop and grab some great deals on ThredUp, then go ahead and click my link in the description and use my code COLEY50 to get 50% off your first ThredUp order, plus free shipping. You can also see what I've been eyeing on ThredUp recently and shop from my favorites. Thank you so much to ThredUp for sponsoring this video. Now let's get into the tea. So, this all began, as a lot of fandom drama often does, with a post on Twitter, specifically with a Blue Lock fanfic of all things. This snippet from a Blue Lock fanfic was shared by a reader who said, "Why do AO3 authors always write the most profound quotes I've ever heard in my life? Worship isn't love. It's distance, dressed as devotion. You can't hold someone from a pedestal." It's always the sports anime, man. Like, the sheer amount of yearning you could shove into a competition. It's a Ryosei and Nagi Ryo fic, so I'm reading this later. Personally, I think this is a lovely quote. It makes you think about love and what devotion is to love in terms of what devotion is to worship, how they differ. I can see this fitting well into the world of Blue Lock, and obviously this resonates with a lot of people because this has over 7.5 million views and almost 100,000 likes. The actual author of the fic came in and thanked the poster for their kind words, and lots of other folks were sharing their favorite quotes and bits from the story in the comments. It was really, really sweet seeing all these comments hyping up this fic or fanfiction in general, people coming in and sharing other stories that emotionally touched them, and some were even like, "Hey, I gotta watch Blue Lock now." But then a smattering of comments came in saying things like, "Have you ever read an actual book? Please read books that aren't fanfic. You are illiterate bums and this looks incredible to you. Because you never read actual books, so this slop seems intelligent. This sounds like the most poorly thought out philosophical slop ever written. Love is far too diverse and nuanced." Yeah, I'm sure we're gonna get into the full spectrum of love in a 3-line snippet, bud. This is so motherfucker, that's mid at best. Have you read books? Lamau. Like, this is dope, but there's literally thousands of books with just as, if not more, profound quotes, and much worse ones to be sure. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude, this person was clearly excited about this fanfic they read. Is this the most profound thing they ever read in their life? Probably not, but this clearly made a strong impression on them and made them feel something that they wanted to share with other people. It's called a hyperbole. Where's your sense of whimsy and joy, man? And then we have the creme de la creme of this sort of sentiment with this quote retweet saying, "Y'all need to read books," which garnered over 11 million views and 156,000 likes. Y'all need to read books. This is funny because a lot of people got into reading fic in the first place because they enjoy reading books so much. Many of them read fics for the books they enjoy because they wanted to continue the story or think about where it could go. If you talk to anybody who likes reading fanfiction, then it's very, very likely that they also enjoy reading books. And if you do find people that are like, "Oh, I only read fanfiction because regular books are trash," they're probably young or just didn't like some of the required reading for school. I guarantee you that the amount of people who exclusively read fanfiction and fanfiction only is very, very small in comparison to the vast majority of people who enjoy reading in general. Many folks gravitate to fanfiction because they're able to see themselves more in stories written by people that are similar to them, or because the publishing world can be very limiting in terms of what can and can't be put out there into the masses. With fanfiction, you're able to explore a lot more. People don't have to sacrifice or narrow down their creative interests or visions. Now, does fanfiction have its own pitfalls? Absolutely. As someone who's been reading fanfic for over 17 years, it's a spectrum. There will be good fics, there will be bad fics. It is, at the end of the day, hobby writing. It's not always going to be polished. Anyone, no matter their writing experience, can start tapping away and write a fic, and that's the beauty of it. Anyone can do it. A fic that changes your brain chemistry and rocks your world can be written by a college student stressed out out of their mind procrastinating on a deadline, or a middle-aged housewife typing on her phone as she's waiting to pick up her kids from school. It's all written by folks who just want to share their passion with other fans. And lumping all fics together as badly written slop is not only discouraging, but really sells the art form short of its potential. Now, obviously people weren't too happy, saying things like, comments like these are so annoying, because I guarantee if this quote was in a book, people would be eating it up. And I have to agree, because it's framed as fanfiction, people automatically look down on it. Fanfiction is an easy target for attack, since it's usually written and posted online by regular people anonymously, not a hotshot author or well-known public figure. If you were to take a screenshot from practically any book out there and say it was from a fanfic, chances are you'd likely find comments similar to these, proclaiming it to be terrible, not worth your time, or intelligible slop. Whereas, say you shared a few sentences from a Blue Lock fanfic and said it was written by Ernest Hemingway, the reactions would likely be very different. Y'all need to read books exemplifies this sentiment pretty well, and then with everything erupting over that post, it led us to this post that says, Twitter's the one place someone can say, I think people should read actual acclaimed literature sometimes, instead of AO3 K-pop Omegaverse all day actually, and be called pretentious. I can't breathe. That's how I know fanfic has rotted some brains. Ooh, woof. But that's not what was being said though, was it? I think we can all agree that it's good and important to expand your literary palette, dive into different genres, different forms of literature, read some classics, read some trendy books, read what makes you happy. And there's always some sort of tiff going on in the book community over what's considered intellectual, what people should be reading. I feel like BookTube, BookTok, Bookstagram is always on fire about something. We had the whole Odyssey debacle back in December concerning which translation of Homer's epic poem is the most accurate and true to form and intelligent. Book Twitter is so toxic. Y'all complain people don't read, but the moment someone reads, y'all get on high horses cause they're not reading the Odyssey. Ironic. No one was fighting over the sentiment of, I think it's good when people read books and fanfic. People were getting upset over folks turning their nose up and being snooty towards fanfic readers. Boiling fanfiction down to just AO3 K-pop Omegaverse, which is still a lot of fun by the way, is pretty telling of your stance on it. Mind you, this discussion started when a person was excited and moved by a fic, posted a screenshot of a part they liked, and y'all started mocking them. They didn't mention acclaimed literature, nor Omegaverse. Y'all are just condescending individuals passing for intellectuals. A lot of this just boils down to, I want to feel smart, I want to feel superior, and I'm going to make it everybody else's problem. Oh my god, I love this quote from this fanfic. It's neat. Lol, you actually like that? Have you never read a book in your life? Once you read real literature, you'll think it's Tumblr slop. For anyone who's been with me on the channel for a long time, this may be a bit jarring, and I'm sorry if it upsets you, but I read a lot of fan fiction. I know, it must be a big shock, I'm sorry. No, but seriously though, like my night and morning routine consists of me reading fic for about an hour or two before I go to bed and after I wake up. One of my New Year's resolutions this year is to read at least 1,200 fics on AO3. I'm already well on track for that, and all I'm gonna say is that when I do my AO3 Wrapped next January, the vast majority of that will be JFic. But besides fanfiction, let me go ahead and show you what else I've been working my way through. Conclave is my most recent purchase. I am deep in the Conclave hive right now, and am about halfway through the novel. Lomeli, aka Lawrence, as usual, is going through it, and that got me leafing through my old copy of East of Eden with all the biblical parallels and allegories present. This was a fun read. It's cultish, the language of fanaticism. If you want to dig deeper into like the terminology used in MLMs, religious groups, or cults, this could be for you. Let's see, I'm excited to start Tuha. This is one of my personal favorites, Crying in H Mart. I was already a big fan of Michelle for her band Japanese Breakfast. If you're part of the Asian diaspora, if you're a mixed kid, if you lost someone to cancer, or if you're dealing with grief, I really recommend this. I'm a big fan of folklore and make a point to pick up folklore books from different countries I visit, and I had a great time going through these two folklore anthologies. Hag centers around Celtic and British folklore, and Never Whistle at Night contains indigenous folklore from various tribes around the world. I'm about halfway through Dune, and if you're familiar with the movie Cloud Atlas, I recommend the book by David Mitchell as well as Mitchell's other works. But yeah, needless to say,
I like to read. Okay, why?
Because books teach me useful things. For instance, did you know that if you electrocute someone while holding them underwater, it'll leave no burn marks on the body?
No.
You do now!
Not that I disagree with reading books, but watering all of AO3 down to just K-pop Omegaverse tells me a lot about your character already. I agree you should read published books, however, OP is defending someone who was dunking on a person just for sharing a quote from a fic they liked. What counts as better literature? Is it purple prose? Is it something that's part of the canon? Or is it just something that's traditionally published? Until relatively recently, novels as a medium were considered low literature and looked down upon in favor of plays and poetry. Approximately 300 years ago, what you might consider to be actual acclaimed literature would have been treated in the exact same way you treat fanfiction. It's pretentious to pretend like fanfic is all K-pop Omegaverse. It's obviously not, and you're only saying that to make it sound stupid and bad, solely because it's not professionally published. I'm in my 30s and read fanfic and published books. I've read some amazing fics that could easily be published and be well received, and some published books that I wish I had never wasted my time on. Not every fanfic is about Mpreg and porn. And hey, Mpreg and porn is fun! Some of the most acclaimed works of literature could be classified as fanfiction. Yup. Comparing one of the single most influential pieces of literature ever written to My Hero Academia yaoi slop is actually wild work. This is what y'all just continue to not understand, Lamau. My dude, I think you're the one who's not getting the point. You're supposed to be intellectual, and you don't realize that A, fanfiction is literally fiction made by fans, and B, the Divine Comedy is literally that. Tell me you have never understood the work without telling me you've never understood the work. My main thing is just getting people to read. There's a literary crisis in the US, only getting worse with AI. Contemporary authors are hit or miss. Like, I promise you that slow burn Steve Rogers x Bucky Barnes fanfic with 200,000 words is better than half the published you'll find at Barnes & Noble. I'd rather spend my time reading 49 chapters of heart-wrenching Destiel angst rather than the trashy porno that Book Talk keeps recommending. I've read fanfiction discussing the agony of immortality due to loving mortal beings. I've read heart-wrenching discussions of grief that left me devastated for days. Stories that leaked love from every word. Traditional publishing is not some code for better. And don't even try to be like, I didn't mean fanfics are bad, when you purposely try to degrade it in the post. There's a way to recommend reading acclaimed books as a way to further skill without having to demean people's passion projects. But that's not what you actually want. You want to sound smart and cool and above the silly people who read K-pop Omegaverse all day. But you are not. You're just mean for no reason to strangers who write for the love of it. So yeah, pretentious is a word we can use. But oh no, it got even worse when someone commented, fanfic is just like fast food. It's not meant to be the only thing you do, just like how it's not meant to be the only thing you read on the level of actual literature. It's fun, nothing more. I write myself, and while you can explore things, it's not meant to be truly profound. Ooh, no, bad move, buddy. Fast food, cheap, easy, mass-produced, most of the time pretty but hey, it'll satiate your hunger when you're on the go. It's no real meal, but boy is it addictive, like Taco Bell, am I right? Okay, that's a bad comparison because I actually do like Taco Bell. You are not calling something written by people with passion and hours of work fast food. There are pieces of literature on AO3 you can read for free when right now you have to pay for written by someone who clearly skipped their Wattpad phase and somehow got published. If anything, fanfiction is a home-cooked meal. It's made with love and care, and its quality really depends on the chef, but it's always, always, always made from the heart. Fanfics and fast food aren't comparable. Fanfics aren't mass-produced. If anything, they're more like mom's homemade meal. I'll never tolerate disrespect on art written by writers. Y'all wouldn't on fan art artists and calling them fast food painters. Yeah, there's definitely a double standard present when it comes to fan art versus fanfic. You guys will call fan art Renaissance level and give it so much praise, but then turn around and call fanfic fast food. Okay, fanfics are like home-cooked food. Much love and personal dedication. Sometimes you salt it too much, but that's fine. Sometimes it's better than anything you can get at a restaurant. It's the most available for most people. Fanfic can be a lot of things, from a gourmet meal to 3 a.m. drunk heinous snack, but it's always homemade. Free labor that comes from a place of love and passion being compared to fast food is so condescending and downright insulting to writers and readers alike. If you call the multi-chapter fic I spent hundreds of hours writing and editing and losing sleep over so I could deliver something good for my readers to enjoy fast food, I will punch punch you in the throat. Now, circling back to the y'all need to read books tweet, when this poster was getting some flack, being called rude and mean, they retorted, nah, it's not mean. Writing is meant to be criticized. And then this shifted the conversation into the role of criticism within fanfic. Since this is relevant again, I don't believe fanfic is above criticism, but it is incredibly ridiculous to hold fanfic writers to the same standards you would a professional author. The comments I see sometimes are so crazy, like, what do you think this is? Bad writers should not be coddled. The bad writers in question is probably someone who wrote between their 9-to-5 job and is just writing for fun. You don't give unsolicited criticism for fic writers unless they ask, because they wrote it for free. Unless an author asked for criticism, there's no place for it there. It's a hobby, self-indulgence, a gift shared for free with us. If you don't like a gift, move on. In private, say whatever, but don't give uninvited criticism or express it on any given public platform. Like, yes, you can technically put someone on blast if it's a public post, as in you have the ability and right to, but should you? Like, I can comment on my neighbor's Instagram post where she's showing her newly finished garden, talking about how it took some time to put it all together, but overall she's pretty happy with how it turned out, and say, I think Martha Stewart should spit in her face and shit in her pansy patch with how much of an eyesore her garden is for the rest of the street. But should I? Should I do that to poor Deborah, who's just happy her garden's done and HOA approved? Time and place, right? Like, I don't want to be a bitch on Instagram, and freedom of speech doesn't equal freedom from consequences. It's like going to a potluck, getting free food, then seeking out the person who made it just to complain about how ass you think it was. Like, that's crazy behavior. Your parents make you breakfast and you write down a 3-star review on how the seasoning didn't meet your expectations. Coddling bad writers is why fandom produces so many atrocious writers. Stop for a moment and ask yourself why you're expecting fandom to produce anything. Why must every human activity be done flawlessly enough to be sold? Why can't people have hobbies they suck at?
Dude, sucking at something is the first step towards being sorta good at something.
No hate to this person, but I see this pattern of thinking a lot. I think people are conflating etiquette versus a complete stifling of freedom of speech when people say, don't leave constructive criticism for fanfics. Don't leave constructive criticism for fanfics represents fandom etiquette, things you do to not be a dick, in essence. It stems from the idea that fanfiction is written as a hobby, so it's considered rude for people to leave mean comments on a hobby project. It's not a professional piece of work that's commercialized. It hasn't undergone the same rigorous editing process that professional writing has gone through, at least should have gone through. It's, at its essence, a homemade gift, so it's terribly gauche to criticize those. I think an example to illustrate this is your grandmother knitting a sweater and posting that photo on Facebook because she's excited to share what she made. Are people allowed to leave comments going, your sweater sucks, Granny? Technically, yes. Is it appropriate? No. One last point. People who advocate for their right to leave honest reviews, like this person, often mean the right to be an asshole, disguised as the right to expression. Because, let's be real, you think user is leaving mean comments to help others? Hell no. But the plot thickens even more, as it turns out that this person was leaving full-on literary critiques of the fics they were reading in their AO3 bookmarks. A lot of unnecessary dialogue that went on for way too long, and I'm aware that it's there for humor, but it wasn't that good. This fic seems to tackle very heavy topics such as grief, but I don't think it's done in a sophisticated manner. But it was mostly the dialogue that turned me off. Oh boy, and they tagged it nuh-uh. Jesus Christ, okay, their bookmarks are private now, but apparently they had 700 public bookmarks of them just tearing AO3 authors to shreds. They're the modern day equivalent of a flamer in fanfiction.net. Oh, that takes me back. Honestly, not really my thing. James seems like a really dumb person, and personally I'm more invested in Wolfstar than Jegulus, but I've kind of given up on this one. Bro, like, why are you doing all of this if you don't like a fic? Why are you spending precious energy and time on something you don't like? I don't get it. I don't understand how they turned a very original thought and idea into something so cliche. It's actually impressive, and the way James describes his anxiety is funny as hell, like he a Victorian or something. I'm not a fan of Soulmate AU, so this fic was automatically a no from the start. Then why are you reading it, my dude? Just a personal preference is all. Ramus himself is sort of shy from the beginning, which is natural for a child starting school in an unfamiliar environment. okay? And I sort of still have no clue what's happening. Everything's kind of all over the place. Oh, Jesus Christ. This fic was tedious from the start. A lot of unnecessary information and off-topic ramblings. Oh my god. If authors ask for critiques or criticism or ways to improve, there are ways to do that are still kind to people doing this for free and for fun. But this is not it. I seriously don't understand the desire to bookmark something you don't even like and even have a folder dedicated to it just to be a hater? Me personally, I think if someone left this sort of comment in response to one of my fics, I'd be so incredibly demoralized that I'd probably never post anything ever again. This isn't criticism to someone's passion project, it's cruelty. Acting like someone's forcing them to do reviews. I don't like soulmate fics, so this was an automatic no. Why are you reading it then? Treating AO3 like Goodreads is insane behavior. I don't know if this is a hot take, but unless you're a fics beta reader, you don't get to talk about it like this ever. AO3 bookmarks are not Goodreads reviews, and you don't get to say things about something someone created for free. And let's not pretend that actual book reviews are like this. Not from critics, not on Goodreads, not anywhere. People feel like it's okay to do this to fic writers because it's not real writing, so they have no respect for it or the effort. It's so demoralizing. You know this is deliberate cruelty because if they left this as a comment, it could be deleted, and they chose to leave these bookmarks public so the authors could read them. What the is wrong with some people? Yikes on bikes, Batman. Yikes, AO3 is not an equivalent of Goodreads for fanfic. It's very unethical to give a low rating to fics which were written for free and for the sake of loving the source material. And the cherry on top of all of this is that this poster, this commenter, has written a grand total of 0 works on AO3. Zip. Nada. People who write and know what it takes to finish a fic and be brave enough to put it out in the world would never treat others like this. These people do it because they aren't brave enough to be vulnerable and instead think stealing people's joy is an alternative. Thought I was going crazy because I've been feeling that people who are mean and loud about it are usually people who don't post art or fics. And the worst part is that they seem to thrive on making fun of people who do. It fills me with dread that it's almost normalized. 1, they don't even write. 2, their criticism isn't even constructive, but subjective to their preferences. Like, I'm all for constructive criticism, but holy shit, this person doesn't even write the requirement to do one. If you really want to do that, at least have the decency to make it a private bookmark. Y'all feel way too comfortable lately shitting on fanfic authors in public, posting screenshots of other people's work for your followers to start dogpiling on it, talking about how cringe certain things are when you yourself contribute absolutely nothing to fandom. Off. Friendly reminder that fan-made content, fan art, fanfic, fanvids, etc. are extremely time-consuming. Remember, someone actually took time out of their life to create that. Entertainment you're consuming for free. I can't stress this enough. You're enjoying someone else's craft for free. Shared with you, not made for you. This is the most important point. Someone created that, put it online, and you found it. No one's forcing you to consume that fan work. You chose to do so. Whenever you feel like leaving a mean comment, anonymous hate, or make a clever post about how, lol, look at all these overused tropes every fic writer crams into their fics, remember you're being a dick to someone who shared their work with you. You're not being funny, you're not being edgy, you're not being brave for calling something out. You're being a dick. After all this went down, this poster/commenter privated their Twitter and all their AO3 stuff. But oh, they weren't done yet, because recently they bookmarked a whole bunch of fics written by someone who was vocal against them on Twitter, and left a bunch of juicy commentary. Using a new account, of course. Okay, but like, be so for real right now. This fic is a mess. They're in love, I guess, but we got 0 build-up, no tension, just insta feelings and vague vibes. Blah, blah, blah. Where's the banter? The prose? My god, the prose! Every paragraph is like, he thought of stars and loss and longing and also death and also wine for some reason. Girl, calm down. It's not that deep. It's exhausting. Read a few books and try again. Okay, so this, yeah, no, it reads like the author tried to speedrun every trauma trope known to AO3 and then forgot to actually write a plot. The prose is just a lot, like every third sentence is someone trembling or sighing, and I'm sitting here like, girl, do you need an inhaler? And the dialogue, ridiculous. By chapter 18, I felt like I needed therapy. You read 18 chapters of this just to on it? Dude. The dialogue here tries so hard to sound smart, but lands somewhere between pretentious and straight up unreadable. Good grief. How someone can fumble the roommate's trope is beyond me. Also, the title, please stop pretending you read the books you quote. Woof! My dude, you know what? How about you try writing some fics for yourself? It's free, it's fun. I mean, obviously you know what you're doing, and hey, you might get some critiques too, and you'll get even better at writing.
But the bitter truth we critics must face is that in the grand scheme of things, the average piece of junk is probably more meaningful than our criticism designating it so.
As someone who wants to be an author so bad someday, but really struggles with putting my own writing out there, like, I can yap about a megaverse and dempreg on YouTube till the cows come home, that's fine, but putting my writing out there where people can see it, my brain's like, nope, too much. I have so much respect for fanfiction writers who share their works with the world time and time again just for the love of the game. So per usual, I encourage you to leave some kudos and nice comments on your favorite fics, show some appreciation and encourage your local fic authors. And if you're feeling bold, get to writing yourself. I have like 5 fics I've been slowly working on for months, and I hope I have the courage to post them this summer. We'll see. And a fic I've been waiting on just updated, and they're having a baby, so I'm gonna read that right now. To end this all on a happier note, I love fanfiction. I love ending my day reading fic. Thank you, fanfic writers. I love you. Thank you all so much for watching. What are your thoughts on all of this? How do you feel about the comparisons people draw between fanfiction and books? If you're a fanfiction author yourself, then how do you feel about criticism? How do you feel about the whole fanfiction is fast food metaphor? Anything you want to share about these topics, feel free to divulge in the comments. As always, if you want to see more fanfiction, fandom, and fan culture-esque videos from yours truly, then feel free to subscribe. And if you'd like to check out my fanfiction recommendation spreadsheet with over 1,000 fics on there, as well as watch exclusive videos you can't find on my channel, then head on over to my Patreon or YouTube memberships. Thank you all again so much for watching, and a special thank you again to ThreadUp for sponsoring this video. Head on over to ThreadUp and shop from hundreds of brands for a fraction of the price, all in one place. Click my link in the description and use my code COLEY50 to shop through my ThreadUp faves and get 50% off your first order plus free shipping. Happy fanfic reading, guys, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!
안녕.